Good morning. Welcome to Turbulent Flow, the place where I talk about general vloggy goodness, usually revolving around engineering, because that's what I do for a living, circus, because that's what I do for fun, and cancer, because that is something that has been imposed on me a couple times in my life. So two-time cancer alumni, current possessor of 0 breasts because they were removed in December of 2025. But we're not talking about that right this moment, because I turned this thing on because I realized I often will talk about circus, but I don't often actually do any circus. And I'm sitting here all warmed up, playing with the cube and trying to figure out a pathway into a trick sequence that I've been working on, and thought I would just show a little bit of, how that process works. Since I'm here and I've got the place to myself and am not feeling super self-conscious about talking to things. And the dogs are outside, so I know that they're safe and not going to interrupt anything. Okay, so first, let's start with the actual trick as it exists right now. Technically, I'm going to show you 2 tricks, and the key is that I'm trying to figure out how to put them together in a way that is going to look coherent and smooth and, possibly cool. All right, so let's start with the first one. So the first one has always begun when I first learned it, and included it in my previous routine. It was from here. I'm hanging from 2 knees. My hands are here. I put my hands here. I push up into a back walkover. All right, so that's not the cool part. The cool part is that I then take this position and do a back walkover and go up into this position, which can then, I've discovered, be done the other direction, and I can back walk over back. And that's pretty great. The only problem, though, is that when I look at the video, I really do not love this. This is not a shape that I like. This is a shape that I do like. So I'm trying to figure out how to get into this shape without having to go through this position, if at all possible. Okay. So that's issue number 1. Issue number 2, I'm sure you're probably wondering, why is she still wearing a shirt that keeps falling in her face? I like it. It makes me comfortable. Anyways, so here's the other part of the trick that I would like to combine with it. So you're not going to be able to see the whole thing because I am not a video expert, but basically I'm standing off to the side. It's very dynamic. Over here, when I get this right and push enough the first time, there we go, here, and then here, and then here. And then I can almost, oh my God, okay. Turns out I just need to get good and warmed up to get into that shape, because I wasn't able to do that 10 minutes ago. All right, haha. So here, and then back down. Smooth that out, and there, and then splits, and then back walk over. Ho-ho. Oh, that's great. All right. Haha. Cool. Seems that showing off in front of a camera is the #1 way to find the actual energy to develop that pathway, because I'm not kidding. That one-handed transfer I wasn't able to do 10 minutes ago when I tried it the first 2 times. I was like, oh, wouldn't it be cool if I got here and then I put my other arm down? And my body was like, yeah, no, you do not have that kind of shoulder control and strength. And then I go and turn on a camera, and suddenly, boom, there it is. That's kind of wild. Okay, so that's the exciting part of my circus workout. I'm gonna practice that a few more times after I turn the camera off. But while I've got this thing on, I thought I would just provide a general life update, because as you might be able to see, I'm still in a different location than usual. I'm beaming in from Newfoundland, Canada, which is not normally where I spend my time. Newfoundland is a place I get to go during the summers and on breaks when I can find the opportunity. And as you can see, we brought the dogs as well, which is no mean feat, because my husband and I live in Toronto, and getting 2 large dogs from their home in Toronto to Newfoundland does not involve an airplane. It involves driving 2,000 kilometers, which we will be doing again as we return back to Toronto, because this is the particular location where I plan someday to retire, but I'm in my mid-50s and that day is not this day or this year. So no retiring yet, but I do get to spend a few more weeks every year out in this beautiful location. So just an update from this particular location, because it's a funny day in the Avalon Peninsula today, because while most of Canada celebrated, we had a day off. Nobody ever actually knows what the August civic holiday that happens on the first Monday in August actually is. But that particular civic holiday is indeed a holiday that we have in the summer, except if you are in the St. John's area, in which case that day gets put off to the first Wednesday of August, which is officially Regatta Day, unless the weather is poor, because if the weather is poor, they move Regatta Day to a day. So it's a funny, St. John's seems to have this very weird floating holiday. You never know for sure exactly what day the holiday is going to happen on. But today in 2026, it's the 5th of August, and it is indeed Regatta Day. They made that call at 5:30 this morning. So it's officially a holiday here. I'm working from home, and most of my clients are out in Ontario. So I will indeed be having an actual work day after I finish talking to you and playing on my handy dandy cube. But I figured while I had everything set up that I would do that. The other reason why I turned on the camera was because I actually have the place to myself. My father-in-law was with us for the last week and a half. He left yesterday to head back to Ontario. So between my husband here and my father-in-law, who was here for some fishing season, it just didn't result in a lot of time with the house to myself to just sit and chat in front of a camera. But I thought I'd check in, and because the other thing is that I woke up this morning feeling really, really good and really, really appreciative. Partly, though, is gonna sort of tie back to the breast cancer aspect of things that we talk about fairly often here, because I did start doing these videos as a way to deal with the stress and the anxiety that I was dealing with. So this time last year, I was waiting for my actual surgery date. I actually created a routine, a performance piece in this cube at this time last year, and that was my primary way of dealing with that anxiety. And fitness and circus continues, and honestly anything sort of moving my body continues to be one of the best mental health tools that I have in my arsenal. So, I mean, this is one of the reasons why this stuff is important to me. Dogs as well. Those those are also very good for my own personal mental health. The thing about cancer, though, is that it gives you sort of an interesting. I was reading a friend talking about her own father's cancer. He has lung cancer because, I mean, unfortunately, this seems to be a disease that just is constantly popping up. It's like freaking whack-a-mole. And she seemed bothered by the fact that he was what she called fatalistic. Now, this is an interesting turn of phrase, because I think I could actually be accused of being quite fatalistic about my own cancer as well. And I don't see that as a bad thing. I see dealing with cancer, and honestly dealing with life in general, can make you quite fatalistic. I mean, there are things that we plan for and things that we do to try and, stay healthy and live as long and as well as we possibly can. But there are lots of other things that are outside of our control. And we really only get one kick at this lifetime. So on my best days, I am fatalistic and happy about it. I know that might sound a little weird, but I'm very fatalistic that life is short and that there are no guarantees. This is something that was, that I've kind of often had in the back of my head as sort of a philosophy on life, but it has become more reinforced as I was involved in the cancer therapy group. It was a group therapy program that I was doing last winter and this spring, sort of while I was undergoing treatment for my own breast cancer recurrence. But yeah, it's not bad fatalistic. It's much more meant to be just sort of a practical way of looking at the world as it is and accepting it for what it is. That whole Alcoholics Anonymous sort of mantra of, the or maybe it's not Alcoholics Anonymous, but wherever the kind of the old motto is, the idea to have the courage to change the things that I can change, the wisdom to understand what or the courage to accept the things that I cannot change, and the wisdom to know the difference. There's so much in this world, and cancer is one of them, where we can't, we can do what's practical to, like I said, I am doing what's practical to try and take care of my body, but I'm also trying to not live my life in constant fear of it. So, I mean, I don't always eat 100% the best. I am not 100% chipper and happy all the time. I am not always doing my workouts to the best of my ability, but I try to have some grace for myself, and appreciate the things that I can do. And like I said, I'm pretty proud of what my body is capable of doing at this point in time. I know that probably won't stay true for the remainder of my life, so I'm going to appreciate it while I've got it and do what I can with it while I can. And I think that's, on my best days, I apply that to everything. I apply that to absolutely everything that I do. And that could be seen as fatalistic, because I am, on many days, if you ask me, I'm often running under the assumption that this cancer very well may come back a third time. I have no control over that. I'm doing everything that I can to try and keep that from happening, but so much of it is out of my hands, and that's true for all of us that have experienced this particular disease. You know, we can rail against it, and we can hate it, but we do what we can to quote unquote fight it. But when we're fighting cancer, we are fighting ourselves and our very own bodies. So many people do not like that warrior sort of ethos for that reason, because, you know, it's like, am I in a war with myself? I shouldn't be. I don't want to be. Most, you know, and if it ever does come back and I quote unquote lose that battle, have I personally lost? No. You know, for me anyways, that answer is a very obvious no. But this is such a personal thing. But yeah, these battle scars have led me to a fairly fatalistic philosophy that life is super duper short, and on my best days, that leads me to the idea that, okay, well, I better appreciate what I've got while I've got it, because there is no guarantee that I'm going to be able to do that back walkover even tomorrow. So that said, I hope you're having a good day. I'm sorry if this, you know, started out with some cool, ridiculous, you know, 50-something-year-old woman doing a back walkover and discovering that she can actually do something after she said she wasn't going to be able to do it. But maybe that's the point. You know, I'm going to go see if I can do that again. All right? Wish me luck. I hope you're having a good day, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.